What is going on, everybody? Hummus Thunder here, bringing you guys a brand new video. Now, you probably looked at the title, so you have an idea what this video is going to be about. So before people in the comments try to tell me that I don't have a right to critique the game or anything, I have over 31 days played in this game, so I think I should be entitled to some sort of opinion or critique. Getting right into it, remember how people said this was going to be the greatest COD of all time, right? So what exactly happened? Today's video, we're going to do something a little different on this channel. We're going to be taking an objective look at Black Ops 4, more importantly, its shortcomings and why it turned out the way it did. I'm going to try to stay as factual as possible because I don't want to get devolved into nonsensical hatred. That's not my point here. What we're going to do is split this video up into segments. The first segment is going to talk about pre-launch build-up and the beta. Then we'll launch into the launch of the game and post-launch content, followed by game balancing mechanics, and lastly, the dreaded monetization. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. And jumping straight into segment 1, we will be talking about the pre-launch and the beta of the game. Now, moving into this segment, before Black Ops 4 was released, Treyarch had been hyping it up as the most updated Call of Duty of all time, and I think this was their first misstep. Now, why am I saying this was a misstep? Is because they could not meet the expectations of updating this game constantly. I mean, let's look at the track record they've been having recently. Let's take this current operation that we're in right now. They've had all this time to prepare, and they released a 60-day operation that ended for a lot of people pretty early, and now we have nothing to do for the next 25 days, and then they release a heatwave special event that has nothing but a few reserves and an ultra weapon bribe. To me, that's not a content, and that's definitely not something that they're living up to when they say the most updated Call of Duty of all time. Moving on to the beta, the game had a very extensive beta, which is a bit of an understatement. This was kind of a problem considering Black Ops 4 only launched with 27 guns. By the time the beta concluded, we'd already unlocked the massive majority of the game. We've played over 40 levels of the game, we unlocked most of the guns, and if we move on to what was available post-launch, that makes the beta an even bigger mistake, and that's exactly how we're going to move into the second topic. When Black Ops 4 launched, it wasn't in the best position. Even objectively, most of the guns had already been used by the player base, and Black Ops 4's version of a battle pass system launched very poorly, with a massive amount of it being comprised of stickers and emotes that people didn't really care about. Not to mention, it housed over 200 tiers, which is a colossal amount. Most people didn't get that far, but I do have to give them credit where credit is due. They fixed that in the next contraband stream, in the second iteration of it, and it came out with 100 tiers, and it was a lot easier to get all those tiers. But BO4 did have a very strange dichotomy in how they handled content releases. They try to replicate a live service model like you see in Fortnite with semi-frequent updates. Now, this doesn't work. Spreading out content in this sense and retaining the old school Call of Duty DLC format, which they used to release large chunks of content far apart in a life cycle, does not go hand in hand. These two types of formats clashed and left the game unsure of what its identity was. It didn't know whether it wanted to be a live service game or follow its roots. It tried to do both, and it severely weaned the game to the wrong direction every time. It half-assed both of them in every regard, and it generally resulted in lackluster content drops. For example, the weather variations for the maps are nice. I don't like all of them, but they're nice, but they don't actually add much to the game. Case in point, for example, Arsenal's Sandstorm. Arsenal's a good map, Sandstorm is not, and it's generally disliked. A good way to turn these maps into content is to add slight variations to the map, like you see in Hacienda Twilight. That map had added a little walkway that discourages people from hiding in that corner or going through that massive sightline where you can get picked off, so they added that for a bit of a balancing on the map itself. And before I forget, we can't just look at the multiplayer portion for Black Ops 4, not that there is a campaign. We also have to look at its other modes, and starting off with the easier critique, Blackout. When Blackout launched, it was a fair bit unoptimized, for lack of a better term, but this was fixed later on. However, graphically, the game looked very poor due to its size, alongside with some lag and FPS drop. Now, that can be in part of it playing on a PlayStation 4. I haven't played it on PC, so I'm not sure. But graphically, the game just wasn't optimized, and people saw that. But it was still fun. They still updated the mode. Now, for the next mode, Zombies, Black Ops 4 Zombies launched in such an atrocious state. People blue screening, frequent crashes, leaving Easter eggs literally unbeatable. People had enough of playing Zombies a month after launch. While Zombies did have its crashing issues mostly fixed, what wasn't fixed was the content. There was damn near no content early on. It was poorly handled, with some maps literally receiving no build up pre-launch like Dead of the Night. Treyarch took zombies, body slammed it, reached over the turnbuckle, slapped Randy Orton's hand in. Randy Orton came in, rushed, RKO'd zombies, and threw it to the next dimension. Zombies got destroyed in this game, and it's sad to see a very like portion of Black Ops just be treated so poorly. Now, before I get into segment 3 of this video, I do want to take a quick intermission and let you guys know that I really try my absolute hardest to respond to all of you guys in the comment section down below. So if you can think of anything else for this video, please drop it down below in the comments, and I hope you guys are enjoying so far. Now, moving on to segment 3, this segment will be a tad bit more subjective, and that's going to be talking about balancing and patches and things of that nature. At launch, balancing was not awful, with just a few things that needed to be adjusted, and Treyarch could have taken either two routes: buff what was too weak or nerf what was too strong. They chose both in the worst way. Some guns that were weak were buffed to insane degrees, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, like the KN-57, the Rampart, the Augudir Mar. All these guns got buffs, and they were incredibly strong to begin with, and other guns got nerfs that weren't that good. So I don't think that was the best way to go about it. In regards to baseline game mechanics, specialists really hampered this game. Some of them literally break the game. Reaper is a great example. Having 2 Reapers on a team is basically a win for that team. It's incredibly oppressive because Reaper's radar shroud, it covers most of the map, and if you have 2 of them and if they're placed correctly, you have a counter UAV at all times. Moving on to his scythe, for example, it literally shoots through anything, gives you the same feeling as being shot with a Titan oppressor mod, and it's a 2-shot kill with 150 rounds of ammo. That's a great example of how this specialist is completely breaking the game, and like I said, having 2 of them will render your team useless. You might as well put the controller down, go do some jumping jacks, because you'll be less sweaty doing that than playing this match with these 2 Reapers. I promise you this. Another example of a game-breaking specialist, Torque. Having 2 Torques on an enemy team literally destroys map flow, and these maps just gone to shit if there's 2 Torques. And if there's 2 Ajaxes on an enemy team, you might as well put a blindfold on your head, put your controller on your feet, and play with your toes, because that's basically what you'll be doing. And that's just a specialist. I don't like specialists, and like I said, that might be subjective because I don't like them. Some people do. I think if you're going to include specialists, at least nerf them or make them balanced in comparison to the guns. Like, don't have incredibly balanced specials where everyone just counters everybody, but make it to a degree where if there's more than one of those specials on the enemy team, you won't have a bad game. You'll still be able to counter them and have fun. Moving back to the guns, some of the DLC guns take game balancing and just destroy it. And you know, I don't have to talk about this too much, but the S6 Stingray, for example, the Peacekeeper is pretty good. The M16 is kind of shit. The Javelin is a one-shot sniper rifle that's semi-automatic and has an incredible amount of ammo. It doesn't really seem like a gun that's meant to be balanced. And like, before you guys say balancing is ruining the game, correct. Overbalancing ruins the game. But when you overbalance every core gun, most of them, and introduce DLC guns that are overly broken, that doesn't make any sense, because now you have to pay to win to fight the guns that are overly powered. And that moves on to the 4th segment, monetization. This easily is a topic that gutted Black Ops 4, and these are the forms of monetization that Black Ops 4 employ. A season pass that is not cheap, a battle pass that is incredibly grindy without purchasing tiers, and randomized loot crates that are beyond diluted with garbage, and lastly, direct buys ranging from $1 to $30. With all this, it's hard not to think that you're pretty much viewed as a cash cow ready to be milked. But this wasn't it. As if they spat in the faces of consumers, Treyarch added weapons into the supply drops and locked previously free DLC weapons behind the drops, going back on their own word that they told us. The weapons they added weren't just any fair balanced weapons either. Like I said in the past segment, they added some of the most broken guns to ever been introduced into Call of Duty, and it took this game's high time to kill and dropped it to that of Modern Warfare Remastered with some of these guns, which has the fastest time to kill of any Call of Duty. It's like you're playing hardcore at all times. Locking these weapons behind a makeshift paywall is easily one of the worst decisions Treyarch could have made in regards to the health of Black Ops 4. And I personally think this was the biggest factor, along with balancing, and honestly this entire list, this entire video, these are the biggest factors as to what made Black Ops 4 fail. The game has some of the best mechanics that I've seen, some of the most fluid movement. It would have been such a great Call of Duty, but they decided to milk it. And that's just not Call of Duty's case, to be honest with you. This is what the gaming industry is evolving into. As gamers, as people who play games, we should not stand up for such bullshit, excuse my my language, for things like this. We gamers deserve a much better game. We deserve a game that doesn't exploit us for nothing but giant walking, breathing wallets. We should be playing games because we enjoy them. We should support these games and buy map packs and reasonable microtransactions because we enjoy what they've brought to us the consumer. They cannot exist without us, the consumers. We are making their pockets bigger. We are giving them better reasoning to put more microtransactions in our future games because we continue to purchase these every single time. I stopped paying for anything in this game ever since the second contraband. I've had these COD points racked up. I don't buy the tiers anymore. I don't buy the triple plays. What I do is I grind the game, I get the crates, and I convert them, and I hope to get new guns. That's how I have every gun in the game, is I just grind my way to do it. We should not be taking advantage like that, and I'm really scared for Modern Warfare to have a microtransaction system like this one. It's already been rumored that it will be aggressive. Really hope that they will go back on that and give us a game that's made for the players. And that is all for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed what you saw. If you did, please be sure to slap a like on this video, and if you did enjoy the content on this channel, I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy the rest of the content that I put out. So please consider hitting that subscribe button and hitting that notification bell if you feel like you want to get updated every time I post a video. And I'll catch you guys on the next Hummus Thunder episode. Peace.